Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Kay Keller, and I wanted to do a short clip today to answer a quick question about um, the most obvious benefit of having parents massage their child, and that is the connection, the oxytocin. I mean, there's many different benefits physically, developmentally, and emotionally that infants benefit from, as well as the parents when they engage in infant massage and daily massage their child. However, there's another aspect, and after having presented to numerous people that were in early childhood development and other people that have worked and specialized in infants and parents, I realized that the piece that we seem to be missing is the ability to empathize with babies. And what I mean by that is to be able to view it through their experience. So I have this little gentleman with me this morning, and I'm going to demonstrate something for you. So when a baby is inside its mother's womb, they're all tucked up and they're all nice and quiet and all of that fluid and inside her body. And during that 9 months, usually it's an optimal place for them to be. They're fed, they don't have to worry, there's no reason for them to cry. But when they come out that birth canal and they're out into the world, it's their first experience at exposure outside that mother's body. And one of the first things I notice is that we have like APGAR scores. I mean, right off the bat, we're letting parents know how well their child performed. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have APGAR scores, but I think we need to be cognizant of the pressure that we put parents and babies under right after birth. And then there's the next piece of this, and that's that baby, everything is a new experience for them. So one of the first milestones that we look for with the baby right after it's born is whether or not it can pick up its head. So as they're laying on their tummy and they pick up their head, they have to, the first time they do it, they've never done this action before, but they're holding their head up and they kind of wobble and they lay it back down. And then eventually they come up again and they wobble and then they lay it down again. And then finally they pick it up and they're able to hold it for a few seconds or maybe even a minute. And after this, I'll say to parents, in order for them to hold their head up, they've had to lift it several different times and they get better at it and it gets longer. So now what I want to ask you is, when was the last time you used a muscle that you hadn't used in a very, very long time? So at the end of the day, when they've completed this task, their neck is probably sore. Most of us have that kind of human experience where we push ourselves and then we realize later that maybe we've gone too far and that that muscle that we hadn't used in a while is just letting us know. So oftentimes baby will cry, and baby will cry usually going to bed. I mean, that's when we feel it too, right? Sometimes when you're getting ready to go to sleep and you're totally relaxed, then that kind of pressure from that muscle, that feeling of having stretched it and worked it, it's not that it's bad to do that. It's that we need to realize that babies experience the world physically the same way that we do. And so when they cry and we get frustrated because we don't have words from them to be able to tell us what they're feeling, this is where empathy is absolutely critical, because to be able to put yourself in that position that the baby is and to understand they don't have the words. So therefore, a lot of times people will say, well, babies don't come with instructions. And I say, yes, actually they do come with instructions. What they come with is the feelings. And so if we go in our heart and listen to that cry, and if we're able to think about what they've done that day, whether it's because they've um, exercised a new muscle, or maybe it's because their routine has been disrupted. Oftentimes parents will call me and they'll say, I had one mom who called me and they'd moved to a different part of the world. And so she was experiencing fatigue from the time change. Well, babies do too, because their whole process is not time centered. children don't really connect with time until they're about 6 to 8 years old. So before that, from the day they're born and they look into your eyes, they're like little researchers. They're constantly watching you and their brain is processing. And remember, their brain is processing like a supercomputer for those first 2 years. Never in your life did you build faster neural circuitry than you do within those first 2 years. So you have a lot of brain growth going on, which means they're paying attention to us and they're paying, those neural pathways are getting built. And they're not even hardwired yet because that myelination occurs over time. So they're chemical wiring. So during this time period, they're observing us, and how they feel safe and secure in their world is when they can predict. So when you do this, say for instance, if you chose to do infant massage every night before they went to bed, if they saw you getting out your oils or if they saw you preparing for it, they might get excited after a while because they know that next they're going to be massaged. And so those routines throughout the day are actually more critical than what time you do them. It's the consistency of those routines that really helps them. So those two tips alone, being able to view the world through their eyes, and then also being able to communicate with them through your emotional heart by putting yourself in their shoes. And then thirdly, by being consistent with those routines is of utmost importance to them being able to thrive. They're going to go through this again when they crawl and when they walk. I've often seen children like 2, 3, 4 years old walking beside their parent, and the parent's walking briskly, and the child is literally running because their legs are so small. And when I see that, I often think, I wonder how fast that heart is going because it's got to be going 90 miles an hour in order to keep up with an adult. So, even in the best of our parent education programs, what I would like to see become more prevalent is the ability to be empathetic with children. I think that this is the one area in our human experience in which we've unacknowledged the lack of empathy and the connection to their inner world. They need to be seen, they need to be heard, and they need to know that you feel them right from the very beginning. I hope you found this video helpful today. Have a great day, and please do look me up on my website at www.marykkeller.com.